problems have to be identified and we need to solve them. Point number 5, funding is not an issue, and there are situations where fund is refunded, and GDP from 2% to 6% on research would do tremendous wonders in our research scenario. Point number 6, research can be used to identify practical difficulties in NPE implementation as well. Point number 7, help the researchers to engage in qualitative research. We need to. Point number 8, funds are given, sufficient fund, but sometimes fund is returned. Fund is not the issue, and there are international funding agencies too. Point number 9, idea of research has to be established. We need to bring critical thinking and creative thinking in our schools, in our children, and we need to change the mindset, and all of us have to inculcate a passion for building a developed India. In our students, we have to inculcate that. Point number 10, the child-centered practices would do the child-centered practices and activity-oriented education suggested by NP can inculcate a true research spirit in our students. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joju John, for presenting the report on behalf of Group 1. Now, may I request Dr. G.B.G. Varghese to kindly present your report of Group 2. The topic for Group 2 was effective restructuring of the regulatory bodies, governance of curriculum in higher education. Dr. G.B.G. Varghese.
Yes, a very good afternoon, a warm good afternoon to one and all. I would like to summarize the points of our discussion on platform number 2. We were 6 participants altogether. Dr. Harsha ma'am, Dr. G.B.G. Varghese, Dr. Sharmila Kalkar, and Dr. Hani and Dr. Velu Murugan. So we discussed about the effective.
Madam, please unmute yourself.
Sorry. A warm good afternoon to one and all. The topic entitled to me is effective restructuring of regulatory bodies, governance, and revamping the existing curriculum. So I would like to summarize the points of our discussions. We were 6 participants: Dr. Harsha, Dr. Sharmila, Dr. Hani, Dr. Velmurugan, and Dr. G.B.G. Varghese, myself. So we discussed about the key takeaways, what are the things to be kept in mind while in the execution part, and about the moving towards the higher education system to multidisciplinary universities, revamping the curriculum, and how the autonomy should be worked out. First, at the outset, Dr. G.B.G. Varghese, myself, started the topic presentation. And myself pointed out on the execution of multidisciplinary institutions and about the autonomy and why this NEP is pushing interdisciplinary institutions in India. So at the outset, I would like to say that everyone pointed out that the policy is a quantum jump towards the quality transformation. Then the resolutions on autonomy, multidisciplinary institutions were discussed. Single regulatory system should be framed for both academic and administrative functions, and it should be governed by the expert team board members. And other resolution was all colleges under this one body system will be monitored properly. Otherwise, this autonomy and multidisciplinary system should be in vain. Moving towards the faculty autonomy and institutional autonomy, proper supervision and proper funding should be given. And about the revamping of curriculum, proper pedagogical curriculum framework, outcome-based curriculum, and proper pedagogy and proper assessment should be carried out with the help of the stakeholders. Then the second resource person was Dr. Harsha. She pointed out about the reforms in teacher education program in assessment and the assessment parameters. She reflected on teacher education program and about the prolonged internship. She said that everything should be revamped and we need to hire the very best and brightest to enter the teaching profession at all levels. If we want to revamp anything, first we have to revamp the assessment schedule, and we have to reframe the assessment parameters too after proper brainstorming and discussion. Mrs. Shamla talked on the existing education and about the orientation towards pedagogy. And she pointed out about the curriculum design to be to make it flexible and skill inculcation at different levels of education. She also added that that the road to attain these goals has been paved with good intentions, and we have to work together to attain this goal. We teachers are the executors of this implementation, and we have to put our hands together to the proper implementation of this curriculum design. We have to sit together for brainstorming and discussion and debate, and it will give rich dividends in the curriculum revamping. And summing it up, National Education Policy Mission is aspirational, and the implementation roadmap will be decided with further discussions and brainstorming with experts and beneficiaries. The three major areas, the pivots of these discussions are restructuring regulatory bodies, and the resolution was based on the regional imbalance. Proper regulatory bodies should be framed up, and one yardstick for assessing all the institutions will not be worked out. Then about the governance, single monitoring system is very effective, but proper monitoring and proper documentation should be ensured. And about the third pivot, revamping curriculum, outcome-based curriculum should be enforced and ensure it. After proper brainstorming and discussion, a flexible curriculum should be framed based on the brainstorming, and that will give rich dividends. That's all about the second platform. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Dr. G.B.G. Varghese, for that presentation on behalf of Group 2. Group 2 was effective restructuring of the regulatory bodies, governance of curriculum in higher education. Thank you very much, ma'am. The third group is higher education in Bharatiya languages to build an equitable education system. May I request Shri Subodh Haldankar to present the report of the deliberations held in your group. Shri Subodh Haldankar.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, ma'am. The topic for our group was higher education in Bharatiya languages to build an equitable education system. The moderator of our group was Sir Samir Naik, and the note taker was Ms. Sangeeta Kadam. I was the track leader for this group. The topic was definitely very interesting, and the resolution is also very, very interesting. There was a consensus in the group that this is a very good resolution, and of course, we also felt that the time was very less because since the discussion took place and we couldn't get sufficient time to discuss the many of the points that we wanted to discuss. So a few points which we could discuss were as below. Now, India is a multilingual society. There are many languages in the country. So, which language is selected by the Higher Education Institute for education is one of the major challenges. So, the solution could be selecting the mother tongue as the primary language, and later on, any other Indian language or a foreign language could be introduced. There should be no compulsion of selecting any particular language. And the other point that we discussed was changing the mindset of the parents towards education in English. The mindset of the parents towards education in English needs to be changed. And promotion of Bharatiya languages should begin at home. So the parents can interact with their children in their mother tongue as well as any other Bharatiya language, so that they can go ahead and use that as the languages of instruction when it comes to higher education. And as I said earlier, there was a consensus in the group that the resolution of having higher education in Bharatiya languages is very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shri Subodh Haldankar, for that presentation on behalf of Group 3, Higher Education in Bharatiya Languages to build an equitable education system. Participants, kindly note that we are sharing the link of feedback form. Kindly fill the feedback form and send it back so that you can get your participation certificate and we get the feedback about this seminar. Now I request Shri Sanjay Govekar to present the report on developing motivated and capable faculty through pre-service and mid-service training. Shri Sanjay Govekar, may I request you to kindly present the report?
Yes, thank you, ma'am. My group was number 4, and the topic under the discussion was developing motivated and capable faculty through pre-service and mid-service training. Now, my task leader was Dr. Priska Bragenza, and note taker was Dr. Manisha Kulkarni. But due to some reason, she couldn't present it. So, in her place, I'm presenting this. First, let me, because there were 15 participants in our group, and first let me take the challenges faced in this, so developing motivated and capable faculties through pre-service and mid-service training. So to do that, let me present my screen. Yes, is the screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let me take the first one, that is challenges faced in developing motivated and capable faculty through pre-service and mid-service training. First is basic infrastructure facilities are very limited. Excessive teaching duties of teachers, like administrative duties, NEP duties, census duties, election duties, these are too much and very excessive. Next is appointment on lecture basis, contract basis, in spite of the required qualification. They're moving from one college to another college, and that's why they cannot give that much commitment towards their institution. No freedom to design their own curricular and pedagogical approaches. Excellence is not promoted. No fast-track promotions. No definite plan of institutional development plan, that's an IDP. Lack of leadership. Funding from the government bodies are delayed, and for that reason, people cannot work properly, efficiently. And no proper choice is given in the CBCS, where a choice-based credit system. Yeah, these are the basic drawbacks. These are the basic challenges faced in this regards. Now, let me give certain solutions to that also. This is what we have discussed. These are possible solutions in implementing National Policy on Integration 2020. Systematic recruitment and career progression should be ensured. That is TET, that is Teachers Eligibility Test, continuous professional development as CPD, and we have for Goa we have for BEd we have GUART, that is Goa University Admission Ranking Test. So through this, the proper like-minded people and with a proper attitude and aptitude, the students can be selected. Each faculty member should be happy, enthusiastic, engaged, and motivated towards advancing his own or her students, not only students, institution, and profession. Higher education institutions should be equipped with the basic infrastructure and facilities like clean drinking water, toilets, blackboards, offices, then teaching supplies, libraries, laboratories, and pleasant classroom. Every classroom should have access to the latest educational technology. Next, teaching duties should not be excessive, and the student-teacher ratio should not be too high. Especially in Goa, we have seen in schools, because on the part of college, we have to go to the schools. We have seen there is no proper ratio between the students and teachers. There are so many students dumping in one class. So, so that the teachers would be pleasant and teaching would be pleasant, and there would be adequate time for interacting with the students, regarding CCA, conducting research. Next, faculty should be appointed to individual institutions and generally not to be transferable across institutions, so that they may feel invested in, connected to, and committed. Faculty can be given the freedom to design their own curricular and pedagogical approaches within the appropriate approved framework, including textbooks, reading materials, assignments, and assessment, empowering them to conduct innovative teaching, research, and service to the community. And that's what we have noted is that there's a huge gap between the education institutions and the community. There is a huge gap. So we have to build this gap, and definitely National Policy on Education 2020 would bridge this gap. So there should be a fast-track promotion system for recognizing higher impact research and contribution. Each higher education institution should have institutional development plan, that's the IDP, wherein the multiple parameters for proper performance assessment, then confirmed employment after the probation period, then promotion of the teachers, the salaries, increments, recognitions, the peer and student, sorry, peer and student reviews, innovations in teaching and pedagogy, quality and impact of research, professional development activities, and service to the institution and the service to the community. Second last point, outstanding and enthusiastic institutional leadership, which cultivates the excellence and innovations in the extreme is extremely important. Excellent faculty with high academic and service credentials, leadership and management skills should be identified early and trained through the pre-service mode. And every faculty should be trained in maintaining reflective diary, because these are some areas wherein every teacher, every professor, every assistant professor, every associate professor should be trained. And in training, should be trained in maintaining reflective diaries, SWOT analysis, life skills, scientific temper, positive attitude, create and critical and creative thinking, then decision making, then problem solving, oral and written communication, fitness and wellness, teamwork and vocational skills, and then digital literacy, coding. Nowadays, Professor Moore has already told us that coding will be a new path in a new generation. Coding, then citizenship skills, then environmental awareness, sanitization, and hygiene. There are so many things which we can do to develop motivated and capable faculty through pre-service and mid-service training. So I'm thankful to all the 15 participants, my colleagues, so for giving this valuable feedback. So thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, Shri Sanjay Govekar, for that elaborate presentation on behalf of your group. May I now request Ms. Supriya Siddhaye to present the report on the fifth group, that is Quality Universities and Colleges for Holistic and Multidisciplinary Education.
Good afternoon, one and all, and thank you, GBM host institution and our moderator, Dr. Sanjayan, to give me this opportunity. So in our group, our moderator was Dr. Sanjayan, and our note taker was Dr. Nutan Nayak. We had 13 participants, and we deliberated on holistic and multidisciplinary education, especially at higher education level. So talking about fragmentation of higher education systems by transforming HEIs into multidisciplinary universities, we thought of forming cluster universities. If we have number of programs offered by the same trust, then these programs together can form one cluster, or we can form these cluster universities on the basis of geographical location. Now, through this cluster, there should be an extensive exchange of faculty and students for various programs. Now, this individual program is required to be monitored for its quality, and also about the fees, etc. Now, there has to be a MOU if these institutions are not belonging to the same parent organization. There is a need for MOU among all the institutions in the cluster, which defines the mechanism for the exchange of students, exchange of faculty. And on the basis of number of credits that any institution is offering, the share of fees can be shared with a share of fees can be taken by a particular institution offering particular credits. The parent institution for such cluster, which is based on geographical location, can be the institution which is offering maximum credits for acquiring a degree in a particular program. Then we deliberated on the concept of lead institution. So we felt that there has to be a lead institute for a cluster, the lead institution which is more established in terms of its infrastructure and its knowledge, technical expertise. And then this lead institution can facilitate this exchange of knowledge, exchange of research, and sharing of infrastructure within the constituent institutions. And the government can affiliating body can suggest some kind of incentive to the lead institution and some kind of funding support for making it happen. We also deliberated about capacity building, because our learned speakers in the inaugural function was talking about gross enrollment ratio to be to attain to 100% in 2030 when we are talking about transfer from preschool to second level. So here we need to have a perspective plan of the university and the state government based on the demand supply statistics over past 3 years and the employment opportunities. And then only the government should allow the opening of new institutions or launching of new programs, so that there is no mushrooming or saturation of higher education. If we want to improve upon gross enrollment ratio, we need to also focus on onto a rural area, tier 3 cities where education outreach is not so intense. So what can we do so that our gross eligibility ratio from rural area increases, so that there is more and more demand for higher education? And what efforts can be made so that higher education becomes affordable to those students, those learners from rural area who wish to enroll for higher education. So we are talking about improvement in gross eligibility ratio in the rural area, and efforts required even at high school and junior college students to improve increase number of eligible candidates entering into higher education. We also deliberated upon the skill-based programs, vocational programs, and need of an hour to give lot of dignity to these programs and the credits that are being transferred through vocational skills. Here, we would like to quote the example of US, where there is a concept of community colleges, and these colleges are more than 1,000 in number. And this is the roadmap before students take up a formal pathway of 4 years degree graduation program. So similarly in India, also these vocational skills are required to be formalized, and students who do not have that aptitude to take up, to learn some theoretical concept and reproduce it or learn by rote, but they have excellent motor skills, they also should get a dignity and status in the society, and there should be a platform or a venue for offering them a graduation degree. So here Dr. Sanjayan, our moderator, shared his experience about the programs abroad, and he talked about some agriculture programs where students directly get hands-on experience of working in the agricultural fields. Then we also discussed about the new normal. We all are now connected with each other at national level because of this internet and video conferencing facility, and each one of us are now well acquainted of using this particular facility. So we need to extend it to the classrooms. The education should get opened up globally, not just within country but trans country, and open and distance learning programs, ODL programs, should be more in number, and they should be well recognized for employability. And that is how teleconferencing would open doors to exchange of idea globally. We also talked about segregation of universities on the basis of research intensive universities, teaching intensive universities, and autonomous degree awarding universities. So when NEP is having a vision to have such kind of nomenclature for higher education, every institution is now required to introspect and find out where their skills and strengths lie, and how do they nurture and strengthen it further, so that 5 years down the line, their institution, they can foresee as research intensive organized university, or academic intensive, teaching intensive university, or autonomous degree intensive university. And lastly, we deliberated about the academic bank of credit and the digital transfer of credits, and improving the mobility of students, not just within the country but globally. So there has to be a mechanism whereby there is a kind of unique ID code granted to every student, and the credits are being transferred wherever he wants to or wishes to pursue his education. Now, because of multiple entry and exit possibility, there can be a gap in between before he continues with his higher education. So in that case, there has to be a validity period for the credits that he has earned, because these credits should not become outdated or obsolete kind of credits for the education or for the program that he has taken up. So we propose a kind of ceiling of 8 years for validity of the credits. My fellow colleagues talked about need of career guidance and aptitude test as a mandatory formal mechanism before students enter into higher education, so that some professional body is helping them to identify their skills and make them very much adaptable to the program that they are going to join. And my fellow colleagues also talked about importance of life skills and emotional stability, and our higher education multidisciplinary programs should make it a mandate to work on these lives, so that our graduates are empowered to take challenges of their corporate life. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm done.
Yes. Thank you very much, Madam Supriya, for that elaborate presentation on behalf of your group. And thanks to all the presenters for giving us the presentation and feedback on the said topics. I would like to inform all the participants the whole seminar has been recorded. And since we have to send the report to Bharatiya Shiksha Mandal and Niti Aayog, we have done the recording of this seminar also. After the deliberation, an expert comment on the topic is very necessary. We have our senior faculty, Shri Ganesh Chandra Naik, Associate Professor at GVN's Dr. Dada Vaidya College of Education, Ponda, Goa, to give his expert comment on today's presentation on National Education Policy 2020.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. The previous presentations are very good. All different presenters from different group, they nicely presented all the ideas one by one. Okay, at the end, I've been asked to give the validity address. Okay, my dear friends, culture and education, they go together. This is what we do in our B.Ed syllabus, Education and Society. So therefore, in my talk, I'll be talking about promotion of two cultures. One is Indian culture, about which NEP 2020 is very much vocal. And the other one is academic culture, about which there is nothing explicit in the NEP 2020. Now let us come to our Indian culture. National Education Policy has clearly stated that the guiding principle of NEP has been the India's rich cultural heritage, tradition, and values. And we also know that we teach in our B.Ed, the function of school. They have clearly stated that it is about transmission, preservations, and promotion of culture and society. So therefore, on page 4 of NEP, it states, rich cultural heritage of India must be nurtured, preserved, and researched, and put to use in our educational system. So this is the priority given to Indian culture in Indian education system, and it has been rightly recognized by NEP. And this is what? This is for what reason? This is to develop what NEP says: national pride, self-confidence, self-knowledge, cooperation, and national integration. But how to achieve it? How to integrate culture and education system, and how to achieve it? NEP has provided some clear-cut roadmap and guideline on it. These are, okay, these few things I have taken from NEP. This is integration of art and sport in curriculum. I'm giving example of our B.Ed. Earlier, when we were running this 1-year B.Ed program, we didn't have the sports teacher, fine arts teacher, and art teacher. But now, okay, with it possibly before NEP came out, we got 3 teachers: sport teacher, art teacher, and fine art teachers. So this is the thing actually about holistic education and promoting Indian culture and tradition. I think it's a beautiful idea of integrating art and sports and all the things into our curriculum. Then education through mother tongue, because a lot of speakers, they have presented the idea that how culture and values is transmitted through mother tongue. So therefore, this is the idea through which we can integrate culture and education through mother tongue. Another aspect that has been highlighted in NEP is about, okay, teaching of Sanskrit language. It's a good idea. Then another idea is called standardization of Indian Sign Language. So this is also possibly NEP thinks that through this, the culture and values of India could be transmitted through our education system. And there is another topic through which this could be achieved, that is knowledge of India. Okay, and this includes specifically the indigenous knowledge of India. It has to be explored, researched, and put into use, and to be taught in our education system, including history of India. Okay. Also, NEP specifies about teaching of Indian values and moral, and that is through stories from Indian literature like Panchatantra. And not the least one, that is students exchange program. Okay, this has already come, because I know in our B.Ed once we are told that your students will go to Jharkhand and Jharkhand students will come to your Goa. So some kind of planning is already there about students exchange program. So when students exchange program takes place, okay, they not only transmit the culture of their own state to other state, they also bring their culture to their mother state. Okay, so this is how possibly NEP has planned how education and culture could be interrelated in our curriculum. Now coming to the second topic, what I wanted to say is about academic culture. And this academic culture is not, I'm talking about in school education, it is in higher education. Okay. Coming to this academic culture, every good institution or university is known by its good academic culture. When I remember university, I remember my university, MS University of Baroda. Therein were teachers from all different parts of India in our faculty. Similarly, in the department and in the hostel, I had friends from not only from different parts of different state of India, even I had friends from different parts of the world. I know my friends from Kenya, from Thailand, from Israel, from Jordan. So this is the concept of university. University means Vishwavidyalaya, wherein students and teachers are from all over the world, not limited to your state. Okay, so when the product of this kind of institution, they join other institute, some kind of exchange of academic culture takes place. And this leads to a kind of vibrant and lively academic culture in all the institutions. Faculties transfer academic culture from their parent institution to other institutions. But this is not happening that much. Okay, the kind of academic exchange or academic culture is not happening that much due to what I call, okay, academic inbreeding. Academic inbreeding is practice wherein university they prefer to recruit their own students as teachers. Okay. They do ignore students from outside state and outside university. So this is a very I'll say not so welcome practice in different universities and institutions. Several experts in the field of higher education, they have warned the bad practice, the bad effect of this kind of practice. Okay, I'm not going to elaborate what are the ill effect of this kind of academic inbreeding. All the things are available in different literature, but state government don't find this problem as serious one. Okay, they don't at all realize that academic inbreeding should be stopped. They don't find at all as a serious problem. And this also applies to central institutions. I'm not blaming only central state government. Even in central universities also, academic inbreeding is rampant. Recruitment role of universities and state government facilitate academic inbreeding. Okay. But what is the way out? Is there any solution? Is there any way possible so that this kind of academic inbreeding could be stopped or could be minimized? Okay, I remember few practices in our college or in our state. Say a few years back in our B.Ed, 10% quota was there in admission to students from out of Goa. Okay, students from different states were getting admission in our college once upon a time, but this is not the practice now. Okay, take another case of MBBS admission in all government colleges. 15% outside, sorry, all India quota is there. Students from all over India, they can get admission in any B.Ed college within that 50% quota. So that means some kind of planning is already there. Why not do it in more or less all institutions so that students can get admission in different states, in different colleges. So therefore, my suggestion is that government of India through different regulatory bodies like UGC, MCI, AICT, NCT, they should insist some kind of all India quota, both in admission and recruitment of teachers. At least some teachers should be there from outside state or outside universities. I remember while filling that self-appraisal report of NEC, there is one item. It says about how many teachers are from other state. So it says that teachers should be from other state and should be from other universities. So this is my suggestion that at least some incentive has to be given to the universities to recruit both students and teachers from other state and other universities. Okay, this is what in brief I wanted to say on promotion of Indian culture and academic culture. This would make our education system unique and make our university truly Vishwavidyalaya, similar to our ancient universities like Nalanda and Takshashila. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sri Ganesh Chandra Naik, for that presentation. His expert comment on National Education Policy 2020. I'm sure this will go to the ministry and some suggestions will be taken up by the ministry for the betterment of our students and betterment of our universities and colleges. Thank you very much, Ganesh Chandra Naik, sir. National seminar organized today would not be complete if we do not thank all officially. Now I request Ms. Hani Babu, Assistant Professor, to propose vote of thanks on behalf of GVM's Dr. Dada Vaidya College of Education.
Thank you, madam. Good afternoon, everyone. Respected chief guest for the national webinar on role of teachers in NEP, awareness, orientation, and responses, organized under Bharatiya Shiksham Mandal and Niti Aayog in collaboration with Goa Vidya Prasarak Mandals, Dr. Dada Vaidya College of Education, and Chairman of Goa Vidya Prasarak Mandals Working Committee, Sri Bhaskar Kandepakar, Keynote Speaker and Director of Vivekananda Education Societies, Institute of Management Studies and Research, Mumbai, Professor Sadish Moth, Officiating Principal of Goa Vidya Prasarak Mandals, Dr. Dada Vaidya College of Education, Dr. Jojen Matthew, and all the participants for national webinar. I consider it as a privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this special occasion. The first and the prime glory goes to Almighty God, who blessed this special occasion through His grace. This national event was marked by the presence and words of our chief guest and chairman of Goa Vidya Prasarak Mandals Working Committee, Sri Bhaskar Kandepakar, who joined us and well spoke on the theme how to reduce the gap between private and government educational institutions. I take this opportunity to express our sincere gratitude to you, sir, for extending for your all support and also for sharing your reflections as practical suggestions for reducing the gap between private and government institutions, both in the school level and higher education level. I also express my sincere gratitude to keynote speaker and director of Vivekananda Education Society's Institute of Management Studies and Research, Mumbai, Professor Sadish Moth, for his reflections on theme Role of Teachers in National Education Policy. Your speech was really helpful to understand all the dimensions of NEP and how to implement the role of teachers for the proposed dimensions. I acknowledge the deep gratitude towards officiating principal of Goa Vidya Prasarak Mandals, Dr. Dada Vaidya College of Education, Dr. Jojen Matthew, who gave his presidential address based on the conceptualized remarks on evidence-based research conclusions. Sir, I thank you for your speech and also for your dedicated support for the event. I would also like to acknowledge the collaboration extended by Bharatiya Shiksham Mandal and Niti Aayog with Goa Vidya Prasarak Mandals, Dr. Dada Vaidya College of Education. I would also like to mark the gratitude towards Dr. G. Srinivas, Assistant Regional Director, IGNO, Goa Regional Center, for his coordination skills. The breakout session of the program was conducted very successfully with the fruitful deliberations through the teamwork of moderators, track leaders, and note takers, and the participants. I would like to thank the moderators for their speculative presentation during the validatory session and the track leaders along with the note takers for their deductive and directive skills. The valedictory session was addressed by Associate Professor Mr. Ganesh Chandra Nayak, who gave a very significant speech and thoughtful expression. Thank you, sir, for your thoughtful expressions. This webinar was completely structuralized by the coordination of Dr. G. Srinivas, Assistant Regional Director, IGNO, Goa Regional Center, Associate Professor Karuna Satadekar, and Assistant Professor Mrs. Akshada Samant. Thank you for all of you for your dedicated efforts. This virtual event was successfully organized by the technical teamwork of Assistant Professor Mr. Deeptej Varnekar and System Administrator Mr. Abhijit Rege. I express my profound thanks for both of your valuable expertise and efforts. I would also like to thank Associate Professor Mr. Sanjay Govekar for extending his artistic skills during the invocation, and Mrs. Karna Satadekar for extending her comparing skills for coordination of the program. I express my gratitude towards the in charge for the report of deliberations, Director of Physical Education, Mr. Shaunak Pagi, and all teaching and non-teaching staff who worked behind the screen for supporting all the arrangements for successful conduction of this program. Last but not the least, I express my gratitude towards all the participants who joined for the program and helped to make this event a successful academic exercise. Once again, on the behalf of Goa Vidya Prasarak Mandals, Dr. Dada Vaidya College of Education, I extend my sincere gratitude to one and all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hani Babu, Assistant Professor at our college, for that wonderful and beautiful vote of thanks. May I request all the participants to kindly leave the meeting, and I suppose you have filled the feedback form. You will receive your participation certificate. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very nice. I like the vote of thanks of